I feel like I haven't been in front of the press very much yet this session. So
haven't.
I've been giving you all a break from my mug. Questions?
Mr. Speaker, what is the response to this 24-hour sit-in?
We certainly respect each member's right to participate in that sort of thing if they choose. I share her desire to keep Minnesotans safe and our school children safe. I think all members agree that that's something that needs to be a top priority for everyone. I think members are still working to try to figure out what changes, if any, are necessary to legislation that's before the legislature to try to find real solutions that will help keep our kids safe. We did put forward a school safety package, which was about twice the amount of dollars that our governor put forward, that we think would be a big step in making sure that we're giving the schools in our state the tools that they need to protect the kids that are in the schools. So there's a lot of things moving, and we hope to take some action before the end of session on a lot of this legislation. I think we'll see some of it in the House actually tomorrow.
We saw you go over and shake her hand toward the end of her sit-in. What did you have to say to her?
No, I just asked her how the night went and if she stayed awake all night, and then I said, certainly happy that she did that if she felt the need to, and we certainly respect members' right to do that. We didn't do any. I, as the speaker, control the chamber. I could have locked members out or something. I would never do that. I think it's perfectly fine for members to participate in that sort of activity if they want to, as long as it's respectful to our chamber and to Minnesotans. And I think that this was, and certainly within her rights as a member.
What do you mean there's going to be a gun bill tomorrow?
We've got the education bill, I think, that will be before the House tomorrow, and that has our school safety provisions in it, and I think you'll hear a lot of discussion in that package of bills that's wrapped up into a larger education omnibus bill about keeping our kids safe in schools. And as I said, the governor's plan was about $25 million. Our plan is about $50 million that we want to commit to giving school districts the tools that they need to keep our kids safe. We think it's a top priority.
Mr. Speaker, do you expect any amendments to come up from House members to possibly add some of the gun legislation to the safety bills?
We do have a 24-hour rule, and I see it's about 1 minute after noon, so I assume we'll see those amendments had to be posted by noon today. So shortly I'll see if there were amendments posted. I don't know. I guess I'm not expecting any, but certainly within the right of members to offer those amendments if they choose to. And we'll certainly debate them and figure out whether they fit or not, and if they have support, they'll pass. If they don't, they won't.
Mr. Speaker, the day before spring break, you said that you expected there would be more gun legislation hearings this session and potentially something related to background checks. Is that still the case?
I think there probably will. I know there are ongoing conversations kind of behind the scenes between members who are trying to work to find consensus on solutions that will really help reduce putting guns in the hands of potentially dangerous criminals. I think we all share that goal, and I know that those conversations are happening. I expect or I hope that those conversations can be fruitful and we can find some legislation that can get the support of the legislature.
Can you give us, when do you think we might see something?
I don't really know. I know those conversations are ongoing, and many members in the chamber are concerned about making sure we keep our school kids safe. So we applaud them for the work they're doing on that. I have many conversations myself about that, and my hope is that good legislation comes out of this session, and I think it will.
But we're talking about two specific bills: universal background checks and also the red flag bills.
Yep.
Are those the ones that you will?
There are obviously those two bills were introduced along with many others. Those bills have been discussed in public hearings. They did not have enough support in their current format to get enough votes to get out of committee, but I think those conversations are continuing, and those could be bills that could come forward. I think probably based on the fact that they didn't earn the support to get out of committee, they probably would need some changes to get out, but if they have support, they'll get here to the floor and they'll get voted out of this chamber.
Well, how does something with 90% public support, according to the Star Tribune poll, not have support here in the House?
Well, that's a good question for the folks on the committee. We have committees that specialize in the intricacies of these bills, and obviously there was some controversy about provisions or maybe even just questions. We might get to the point where questions are answered and people feel like those bills can move forward. But at this point, they didn't have enough support to get out of committee and get here to the floor. But I know that those conversations are continuing, and I hope that those conversations are fruitful.
How can you have those conversations outside of a committee process and committee hearing?
Well, a lot of the work here across the aisle actually happens between members just reaching out and saying, hey, how can we work together on this issue and how can we find some common ground? I know that even outside of this chamber there are conversations hopefully happening. I think they are. I'm hearing that they are between pro-Second Amendment groups and probably most likely some of the groups that were here today that want to see some action taken on gun control issues. So it's those sorts of conversations that will get us to consensus. I know that those conversations are happening behind the scenes, and it takes those kind of conversations to move votes sometimes in committee.
Did you say that you're personally involved in those conversations, and can you tell us how far down the path they are?
I have been involved in some of them. I think I've been encouraging folks to look for solutions and to try to find consensus on these issues. I think they are important, and you're going to see how much of a priority the school safety issues are tomorrow when you see our education bill. So we're certainly want to make them a priority, and I've been encouraging those conversations. I've been involved in a few, but I have to be involved in a lot of conversations about taxes and many other things as well. So I can't commit all of my time to it, but I have had some conversations about it.
So you don't expect guns to come up in tomorrow or to pass tomorrow?
I don't know. I would check the amendments that have been filed. The deadline is passed now by 5 minutes, and amendments to the bills that will be on the House floor tomorrow have been posted publicly, or at least have been submitted by noon. It may take them a few minutes to actually post them on the website, but that should be happening right now.
And if there could be amendments to the amendments that would be posted by 6 o'clock. There's an amendment.
You very likely will know before I do whether those amendments have been posted. So with the beauty of the technology that we have today.
Would such amendment to change gun law be germane?
I don't know. We'd have to review the amendments and find out. And sometimes if I don't think it's germane, the body can overrule me. Or vice versa. I may think it's germane and the body may overrule me. So we don't know. You know how this place works, and we have to review the amendments and just see if they look like they're germane to the underlying bill.
But for folks on both sides of this issue who are quite passionate about the gun issue, is it your expectation that there will be some action this year on that front?
I hope that there is. I think there will be. I think there can be. I don't know what that looks like yet, and I know that those conversations are ongoing, and I certainly applaud and encourage members to engage each other. There are very differing opinions, not only in this chamber, but across the state of Minnesota about what should happen and what will actually be productive. And what I always like to see as the speaker is good, respectful conversations happening, and I think they are. So I'm optimistic that we can come up with some legislation that can gain consensus and move out of this chamber.
I have to give the speaker the majority leader to meetings, so if you have any more questions.
Does the Senate have any influence to take on the outcome of whatever that might be?
I don't know. We know that people are concerned about school safety and generally safety in general when you're out in public, and there's been some very high-profile incidents in recent, in other states recently. So it's certainly at the forefront of folks' consciousness, and we very much, and very often react to what Minnesotans want us to do. So things that gain grassroots public support and gain momentum with the public very, very often get dealt with here in the legislature, and I don't see another path for this one. I mean, I think that's how it has to happen. The public has to reach out and call and say, hey, we really think this needs to happen, and that's how things get changed.
So you referred to the opponents of background checks as Second Amendment supporters. Are you saying the people that support background checks aren't Second Amendment supporters?
Not necessarily. I guess I didn't mean to imply that, but I guess I just generally referred to them as Second Amendment groups, whether it be the NRA or whoever. I have not had conversations with the NRA personally about this issue. I don't know if I will or not, but if we get to something that looks like it may pass, I would encourage the groups to get in the room together and see if we can find some things that can get consensus, even amongst those support groups, and I hope that we can. Sometimes if you don't see that sort of consensus, it sometimes can imply that there's politics at play, and I think we all care so much about the safety of our school kids that we would never want to play politics with an issue like this, and I hope we don't see that. Sometimes if you don't get to consensus or get fruitful conversations, it's because people are kind of stuck in their corner and trying to play politics with the issue. So I haven't sensed that yet, and I hope we don't.
Thank you.
So I think that's it. All right, thank you all.
Thank you.